Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So, just to remind you guys, for those who have not received the message just yet, I've started a new channel. So, make sure you go onto their channel and subscribe. The links are in the description. It really isn't much work, guys. Just go to the description and just subscribe from there. I would really appreciate it. I think 1,100 of you have so far moved across. So you guys are my real followers, real supporters, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. We also have lots of high IQ discussions on the new channel, so make sure you head over there and join the discussions. I'm still posting on this channel as well because there's still a lot of you who have not moved across. So it might take a while. So I'm having to post on both channels for now. So I'm going to post on, this is the first part. I'm going to post on this channel. And as usual, guys, part 2 is on my new channel, so make sure you go to the description and click the link from there. And as usual, part 2 on my new channel, we have deep dives and high IQ intellectual conversations, so make sure you join us and I'll see you there. So without further wasting any more time, guys, let's start the show. So Trump is at it again. He's threatening Oman with further bombing, and he just sits there. He just sits there in between Marco Rubio and his Secretary of War, and he's basically threatening Oman to he's going to blow them up apparently. And both Secretary of War and both Marco Rubio, they're just sitting there with a blank expression. Obviously they don't think there's anything wrong about threatening other countries, bombing other countries. It doesn't really think there's much wrong with it, and they were just sitting there like another day's work. Let's bomb another country, guys. Iran didn't go too well for us. We're losing on the negotiations, so let's look for a country who's weak, who can't fight back. Oh, I know. There's a couple. There's Cuba. There's Greenland. Oh, hang on. There's also Oman. Let's bomb Oman as well. So this should be a real reminder to the Gulf states and the, so-called GCC, you call it, that Trump doesn't give a damn about any of these Gulf countries or Arabs for that matter. He's willing to just sit down and talk about bombing another Arab country, even though bombing Iraq, Libya, Syria, Iran, you know, and Iraq again, even even all these millions of people that they've killed is still not enough for them. They want to bomb more Middle Eastern countries. That's what they think of Arabs and Muslims. And the sooner these GCC puppets wake up, the better. Absolutely disgusting, guys. I'm disgusted by hearing this. And there's people saying, "I know it's Trump. It's Trump." I mean, I don't care, guys. Seriously, the president of the United States should not be sitting there threatening to bomb countries for no reason whatsoever. No reason. Can any Americans just sit? Can any Americans in America just tell me, what's Oman done wrong, and why should America gun bomb Oman? No American will be able to tell me the right answer. No American. Well, there'll be some MAGA account saying, "Yeah, we're going to bomb Iran because they'll come up with any excuse. They'll say, oh, they were in September 11th. They wasn't, but, they'll come up with some sort of excuse. It's absolutely crazy, guys. And these Gulf Arab countries are just literally kissing Trump's ass. MBS, UAE, leaders of UAE, um, leaders of Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, they're all literally kissing Trump's ass, giving him presents. letting Trump use their airspace to bomb Iran, letting Trump use their bases to bomb Iran. Absolutely crazy, guys. They're just sowing their own destruction by doing this. So I mean, the reason the re- I mean the reason Trump is threatening to bomb Oman. I mean, this is my theory, guys. I mean, obviously, it's not official theory, but my theory is Iran is obviously controlling the Strait of Persia, and they're asking Oman to to basically help them and to share some of the costs. And I think that's probably why, because if you know that the northern part of the Hormuz Strait, the little pointy bit, it's actually owned by Oman, the northern part. So they probably asked Oman to kind of do some help along that region. So that's probably why Trump is threatening to bomb Oman. There's no other reason, guys. So let's talk about what the latest is. So obviously, things have been going up and down over the last few days, up and down. And I'm just going to give you a quick summary of the latest. I mean, this is coming out of Professor Morandi. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. So these are Iran's demands. And apparently, Trump has agreed to all of them because Trump has had enough and he wants to basically wash his hands out of it. Because anyone that knows Trump knows that he's got attention span, very, very short attention span, very short. This is a guy who's in reality shows, The Apprentice. I don't know if you guys have seen the US Apprentice. His attention span is extremely low, guys. So he wants to just wash his hands and leave by the looks of it. And obviously, the Israelis are not allowing it. The Zionist controlled lobby, Congress are not allowing it. And if it was up to Trump alone, I'm sure he would have signed the deal and washed his hands, given Iran whatever they want, and then just declared victory. That's what Trump would have done. But the Zionist lobby, the Congress, everyone around him are literally Zios, and they're not allowing him to do that. Even Israel is saying they will not allow Trump to do any sorts of peace deal. So this is what Iran is saying that they want. They want the war in Lebanon to end. I wouldn't say it's a war, guys. I think, end of the day, southern Lebanon, you know, Israel is just bombing like they did to Gaza. These people are defenseless. There's no anti-aircraft guns. There's no bunkers they can hide in. These people are just sitting ducks. So they're just getting bombed, and they are turning it into a Gaza basically. They want the blockade to end, and this is the blockade. America is blocking the blockade, as you can say. So they want that to end. They want 50% of Iran's frozen assets released immediately. They want sanctions relief, and everything released within 60 days. Strait of Hormuz will be open. No, when you say open, there will be toll charges, by the way. No Iranian nuclear weapons. Obviously, Iran never wanted nuclear weapons in the first place. So, you know, yeah. Again, this is another one of those Iraqi weapons of mass destruction lies and stuff. But since the war, um, this is my opinion, guys. I mean, don't quote me. I believe that I do believe that because of Trump's threat to wipe out Iranian civilization, I believe there are people within Iran who are looking at the quotes made by Trump, made by Israel, that they could get nuked. And I think there's people within Iran who have made the decision to make their own nuke to defend themselves. And and I believe they've probably been doing it in secret, and they probably have one now. If not, they're probably working on it. And I can guarantee you, because I speak to a lot of Iranians as well, the Iranian people are all behind, having Iran having nukes. Literally everyone's behind it because they have seen what Trump has said. They have seen his end of the he wants the end of civilization, of the Iranian civilization. He wants to end the Iranian people, and it's a major survival threat to them. So the Iranian government, they are under huge pressure from the people to get themselves some nukes, and they have the capability to do it, guys. Everyone knows they have the capability. I mean, they can enrich uranium up to 60%. If they can enrich it up to 60%, they can easily, enrich it up to 90%. The technology is not that difficult. Jump from 60% to 90%, and they have the capability to, put it into a missile because they have knowledge how to build hypersonic missiles. So it is not a it's not a big jump for Iran to do this. And I don't think if they wanted to do one, I don't think it will take that long. We could be talking days, if not weeks. I believe they have the capabilities, and the only reason probably they did not have it over the years is because the Grand Ayatollah had a fatwa against Iran not having any nukes. And guess what? The Americans and the Israelis killed him. So that fatwa pretty much disappeared. I mean, technically, when a person dies, the fatwa shouldn't really disappear. But the fact is, I think this is more serious than a fatwa. I mean, we're talking about the Iranian civilization would come to an end. So I believe once they killed him, things changed, and there's no fatwa being enforced. These are new leaderships, and I believe they've made a decision to probably have a nuke in secret. And somebody asked me in the comment section, why would Iran have a secret nuclear weapon? Why don't they just admit they have one? It's because end of the day, Israel's got has nukes. Everyone knows Israel has nukes, and they're keeping it secret. So it's the same reason Iran will keep it secret. And the only reason they're going to keep it secret is because if Iran suddenly says, "Oh, we have nukes," then first of all, Trump will be justified because Trump has been saying all along, Iran's got nukes, Iran's got nukes. They're going to get it within 2 weeks. So Trump would be justified, and everyone that's been against Trump will suddenly say, "Yeah, Trump was right all along." And secondly, if Iran has nukes, all the regional countries will have nukes as well, like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. They'll all want nukes. So this is why it's very important for Iran to keep it secret. And the only time they will probably use it is if they get nuked. So it's almost like a second, as a second strike. They will use it, but they will never announce that they will. Even if they have it, they will never announce that they got it. And also, people are saying, why don't they just announce nukes and they will, Americans will not attack. Americans and Israel will not attack. Well, end of the day, guys, Iran has been, Iran is a different kind of country, guys. They have been preparing for, you know, an attack by the West, by America, by Israel for over 50 years. They know an attack was coming sooner rather than later. They know that Americans basically got Iraq to attack Iran for 10 years. And after Iraq, they knew they were coming for Iran next. So it was just a matter of time. So Iran was preparing for it. So there's nothing Iran could have done. Um, and, and, and I believe they were preparing for it and they were waiting for an attack. And I think they wanted to show off their capabilities, their conventional capabilities. Because, and they have, they have literally, you know, in a space of a year from the Six-Day War from last year to now, Iran is being looked at in a different light. You know, over a year ago or 2 years ago, the world, the Americans and the world, not me, but the world and the Americans, were basically looking at Iran like they're a bunch of Afghans with slippers. That's what they were looking at. They thought they were like the Taliban, basically. They're basically Iranians with slippers. And they've had sanctions for 50 years. They've got no technology, nothing. And Americans can just go in, bomb them, and the whole, government will collapse. That's what they thought. And most people in the West thought that as well, because obviously most people in the West take in all the BS propaganda that comes out of Fox News and all these Western sources. They say that Iran is, you know, failed state. They're under heavy sanctions. The leadership is evil. All these BS propaganda, and none of them knew that Iran had hypersonic weapons. None of them. Before they attacked last year, before the Six-Day War, they didn't think Iran had any sorts of hypersonic weapons, and they really surprised Israel by really hammering Israel for 6 days. And they've done it again in this 40-50 day war as well. And again, you saw from the papers, yeah, Iran might have hypersonic missiles, but they'll run out in a few days. They're running out. They haven't got the capability to carry on firing. Well, guess what? They've been firing for 50, 60 days. Trump has been saying, "Oh, they've out of missiles. We've destroyed all of their missile capabilities." But still, Iran was firing missiles into Israel and the Gulf countries. So all the intelligence was wrong, all of it. So I believe that maybe Iran invited America to attack them. It was like it was a trap, and Iran basically, or Iran, and also Professor Marandi here, he said exactly what would happen if Iran got attacked. They actually gave America a warning. And before the attack, Professor Marandi and lots of Iranians also came on saying that we would close the Strait of Hormuz. I should say the Strait of Persia, but let's just say Strait of Hormuz, just to keep it simple. So they said they will close the Strait of Hormuz. We will attack the Gulf countries that give airspace and bases to the American countries. We would take out any American ships. We will take out any American aircrafts, and we will, the oil prices will shoot up. The global economy will crash. All these things Iran was warning America about, but they ignored all of it. And guess what? Iran went through with all of their warnings. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. They attacked the Gulf countries. They attacked American bases everywhere. Everything that they promised happened. But Trump ignored it. Trump ignored those warnings. Because he probably thought that Iranians were just a bunch of Persians with slippers. That's what he thought. And they're ready to collapse once the bombing starts. That's what he assumed, and that's what probably the Israelis told him. But everything came false, guys. It didn't work. So here we are today. Trump is backpedaling, trying to agree to some sort of deal, because he is not one person who can stand the long term impact of a war. And we're in May now. We're coming up to June. So we've got June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 more months before the November midterms. So he doesn't have time, basically. And the midterm, if this war carried on and the oil prices kept going up, and maybe there's massive economic crash as well because of the high oil prices, he will be absolutely murdered in the midterms. And I think this is why a lot of his close advisors are telling him, you need to end the war now, before it's too late. So I think he's being desperate. He needs to try and end the war. He's still talking rhetoric as well. He's still sending out, you know, threats via tweets and stuff like that. He's destroying any sorts of agreement that takes place behind the scenes with his tweets. So you don't know what he's going to say one day to the next. For example, just today he said, if Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan do not sign to the Abraham Accords, we are going to move forward we are not going to move forward with an Iranian deal. These countries owe it to us. So can you see what can you see what he's trying to do? He's trying to force these Muslim countries to sign the Abraham Accords. So everything he's doing is for Israel, guys. Everything he's doing is for Israel. This is, all of these countries. If they do not sign the Abraham Accords, would it affect America in any way? No, guys, it wouldn't affect America at all. This is all for Israel. This is all for Israel's benefit. So this is the president of Israel we're talking about, not the president of United States. Everything he's been doing is for Israel. From all the promises is made to MAGA and all his American voters. It's just he's hardly done anything good for them. He's hardly done anything. I mean, he promised a lot. He promised he would bring down inflation. He promised to bring down electricity prices, gas prices. He promised a lot. He promised to send $2,000 checks. He promised to cut income tax. You know, Everything is promised to his MAGA followers has all, he's basically not done anything. But everything is promised to Israel, he's doing it. Everything is promised to Israel. All the money that's gone into him from Miriam Adelson, she's obviously got the strings and she's running the show behind the scenes. She's telling Trump, look, I've given you 200 million. You need to do this for Israel. You need to do this for Israel. You need to do that for Israel. And he's like, yes, miss, whatever you say, miss. So yeah, he's just forcing these Muslim countries to sign the Abraham Accords. None of them will do it because, end of the day, all he's doing is destroying his relationship with the Muslim world. Nobody will sign Abraham Accords under this amount of pressure and stress. And they're still carrying on. They're still carrying on with the GENCIDE on Palestine. I mean, I've seen bombings today, and lots of kids being killed, and they're doing it in southern Lebanon as well. So why would these Muslim countries sign any deal, Abraham deal with Israel? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, guys, let's move on to the next story. So we're going to talk about Hong Kong today. And surprise, surprise, Hong Kong is now the world's #1 offshore wealth hub. So it looks, you know, money has been flowing around the world over the last few years, guys. So we can go all the way back to maybe the Ukraine war. Obviously, it's been going, money has been always flowing throughout history. But let's start with the Ukraine war. When the Ukraine war happened, lots of money went from Russia, Ukraine, Europe into Dubai because Russians were sanctioned all across Europe, including UK. So a lot of rich oligarchs, Russian oligarchs, and even Ukrainian oligarchs moved all of their money to Dubai, all of it, and um, and a lot of them moved into Dubai as well. And they thought, yeah, they can live a nice, comfortable life, tax free. It's a safe country, tax haven, no problems whatsoever. Except America started a war with Iran, and UAE got absolutely bombed. So it's not a safe country anymore. And the Strait of Hormuz or the Strait of Persia has been blocked as well. So there's no traffic going in and out of Dubai. People are leaving Dubai. Property prices are crashing. There's no hardly any visitors going into Dubai anymore. The ports are empty because the Hormuz Strait has closed. So Dubai is really struggling. So all of these rich oligarchs and all these people that have got the money in Dubai suddenly thinking, oh crap, Dubai is not safe. Our money is not safe. We need to move it to somewhere else. So guess what the next destination was? You guessed it, Hong Kong. Perfect destination, guys. Perfect destination. And and yeah, now it's become the number one offshore wealth hub. All the money is, you know, all the rich oligarchs are moving to east, moving their money east, and also moving east as well. And do you remember all of these Financial Times and other publications, media? They all said that Hong Kong was dead. All of them after the riots and everything, and all these businesses were moving out of Dubai at the time. Now it's a booming city, guys, a booming Chinese city, and all these people that have moved out of Dubai, moved out of Hong Kong, they must be regretting it. These rioters who caused a lot of issues in Hong Kong. A lot of them moved to UK, and also someone moved to Canada, Australia, also some to America as well, but most of them moved to UK. And nearly all of them are regretting it. All of them. Let me show you. So this is one example of one guy who's uh who's homeless in UK, and he's literally begging his mum to send him money. His mum is still in Hong Kong, and he's begging his mum to send him money. He's almost like he's got no job, and he's just like begging his mum, to give him money. Life in UK is hard. He's homeless, and you got this guy who was also involved in the riots. These both of these guys were doing the riots, by the way. They're not innocent. So you got this guy who was in the riots, and you can say that, and he says that he's ended up homeless in the UK, in the UK streets. He fought China during Hong Kong riots, he said. Now he says he feels betrayed by the UK government. Because I tell you what, guys, there's no jobs in the UK. There's hardly any jobs in UK, and companies are laying off more and more people. It's extremely difficult to get a job in UK. Even the British nationals are not getting work. So how do these Hong Kongers expect to get work over the British nationals? And there's other stories as well. And you can see this story here. They're basically living in slums in UK. This is some Hong Kongers living in absolute poverty. I don't think they expected. They've been brainwashed all of their lives to think that Britain is some sort of fairy tale. That Britain is, coming to Britain is the ultimate lifestyle. It's a rich country. You will live like a king and queen. That's what they thought. They must have been absolutely brainwashed in schools, in the media, and when they come and live in this kind of slum poverty, they are absolutely shocked. It's quite hilarious, and they probably think that, oh my God, even Hong Kong was better than living like this. And I've actually met a few Hong Kongers in UK as well, and some of them are literally on the street singing to make money. They are singing Chinese folk songs, and I've seen a couple of the Hong Kongers doing martial arts and Tai Chi in the streets, and people walk by and give them money. And yeah, they are literally struggling, guys. They're really, really, really struggling. And yeah, all the media was basically saying that Hong Kong was dead. You know, take your money out of Hong Kong. You know, there's no point putting money into Hong Kong anymore. And suddenly, these papers are now all coming up with saying, "Oh, Hong Kong's the number one destination for offshore wealth hub." And you can see that from the list, number one is Hong Kong, 2.95 trillion. Number two, Switzerland, 2.94 trillion. Singapore, Luxembourg. So all of these, Western papers, they pretend that they know China. They pretend that they are China experts, but none of them have a clue. One year it's Hong Kong is dead, and a few years later they're all saying, "Oh, look at that! Hong Kong is alive, alive!" One day they're saying China's collapsing. Next day China's making huge profits from exports and their economy is booming, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, China's gonna collapse in 7 days." One year later, China's the best economy in the world. These papers and reporters, they're all just a bunch of mindless, low IQ hacks. All of them. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna end it here for now. And for part two, we're gonna talk a bit more about the economy. We are going to talk about a possible AI crash, some IPOs happening, and we're going to be talking mainly about an AI crash that might be due soon. So we'll talk a bit more about the economy. We'll have a deep dive, and we'll talk a few high IQ stuff about the economy. So make sure you don't miss out. This is part two. It's going to be on my new channel. The link is on my description. So check it out, guys. Take care for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.